And of course, the big story for us here in South Africa is how earlier this morning, Kevin Anderson, for the longest time South Africa's top men's singles player, took out Sam Querrey, a formidable power hitter, to advance to the US Open semifinals. The first time a South African gets that far in a Grand Slam since 2003. A great story that we all hope will light the way for our Davis Cup team, which, will be playing in the Davis Cup Euro-Africa Group Zone. Round three tie against Denmark. With us to chat about all of this exciting stuff is Richard Glover, the CEO for Tennis South Africa. Richard, thanks very much for coming through.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
How great is it that we're talking on a morning that Kevin Anderson does what he did this morning?
No, I mean, it's absolutely hugely significant for tennis in this country. I must say, when he hit the winning shot, or when Querrey hit the shot out for Anderson to win the game, my phone absolutely exploded with messages from people all over the world. So I think it shows just the significance of what this means for South African tennis. Massive.
Yeah, he's rolled back the years for South African tennis fans. It was a thrilling slugfest. I was trying to get ready for work. I stayed behind. I was actually 20, 30 minutes late because I couldn't peel myself away from the TV this morning.
Yeah, it was a very, very close match. I think it's probably a lot closer than maybe the scoreline suggests. A four-setter with 3 of those sets going to tie breaks. Yeah. I think Kevin obviously lost a heartbreaking 5-setter against Querrey at Wimbledon earlier this year. So he had something to prove, and he certainly did that today. Now,
let's talk a little bit about the upcoming Davis Cup tie against Denmark. It's very important in the scheme of things. We've been looking forward to getting to this point where we can actually play a promotion tie, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, just for people who don't understand the Davis Cup structure, there's really 4 divisions to the Davis Cup. The World Group is like Division 1, and there's Division 2, Division 3, Division 4.
Just also a contextual, when you say World Group, you're talking about the teams that we see, the Englands, the Australias, is that
we're talking about the big teams, sort of the biggest nations in the world play in the World Group or Division 1. Right. And we're in what I'd call Division 3, and we're in a promotion tie to get promoted to Division 2. So we're going to Denmark we're going to Denmark this weekend to play next weekend. And look, it's going to be a very, very even tie and a very, very close tie, but the team are in good spirits. The preparations have been good, and we're cautiously optimistic that we can get promoted to the group below the World Group.
It would be really nice to have that star power that Kevin brings, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. I mean, I think Kevin probably doesn't get the credit he deserves in South Africa because of the fact he doesn't play Davis Cup tennis. Yeah. But I have a slightly different perspective. I think it's probably more important to have a fit and firing Kevin Anderson doing well at Grand Slams in terms of the profile of tennis in this country, over and above him playing Davis Cup tennis. So it would be great to have him, and I think we're in discussions with him, and if we get promoted, I'm cautiously optimistic he could make himself available for Davis Cup next year. But look, he's doing fantastic things for South African tennis by doing so well at the US Open at the moment.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. Take us through a little bit of that thinking when you say he might actually be doing better and more for South African tennis by doing well as an individual player in Grand Slams and so forth than focusing on the Davis Cup for now. Can you take us through that?
Sure. I mean, that's an excellent question. So I think if you look at South African sport, the headlines tend to get dominated by the big three: soccer, rugby, cricket. And Cinderella sports like tennis tend to only get noticed during the Grand Slams, during Wimbledon especially, but some of the 3 other Grand Slams. And so to have a South African doing really well at the Grand Slams, it just raises the profile. Because there's a lot of good things happening off the court in Tennis South Africa at the moment, but it always helps if there's success on the court, and that's what Kevin is really helping us do in terms of elevating the profile of the sport.
Okay, 2 last questions for you. One is, what kind of form are the players in? We know that Raven Klaasen didn't do so well in the US Open, didn't get into September, but what kind of form are all the players in for this tie?
Yeah, I mean, I've been speaking to our Davis Cup captain, Marcus Andriska, on a regular basis, and he feels the team are in a really good space. I think Lloyd Harris, who's our #1 singles player, has been doing really well in terms of that transition from futures to challengers, which are stepping stone tournaments, and he's starting to make an impact at challenger level. Nick Scholz is looking in good shape as well. Nick actually really won the last tie for us by coming back from 2-0 against Slovenia and winning in 5 sets, and that turned the tie completely. So the 2 singles boys are looking good, and then we've obviously got Raven and Ruan Roelofse in the doubles, and they're becoming a very formidable doubles unit. So look, it's going to be close. Denmark have left out their #1 player because he's not available, so that even levels the playing field really nicely. They've got home ground advantage, but we're playing a hard court indoor, which is good for us. So it's going to be really exciting and really close. I think it could come down to the last day of singles.
Now, we're definitely looking forward to that. Now, for those that don't know, we're just 3 weeks short of the day when last year, when you and Tennis South Africa chose to reveal you as the CEO to take Tennis South Africa into the future. What's been your biggest success in that time? And also in the same breath, what's been your biggest opportunity that you're still mining?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think if you probably look at the footage from 11 months ago, I probably look a lot younger. I think I've aged quite significantly in the last
No, still looking
11
great.
months.
Still looking great.
Thank you. But I think probably one of the biggest early successes, as I would call it, is the fact that we have managed to secure 5 new sponsors in 2017 alone. And sponsorship's important because it starts to generate money that we can invest in our different structures, in transformation and development, into club tennis, into junior tennis. And we're starting to do that. So that's something that I'm really excited about, that you're going to see some really good progress across a number of fronts from a Tennis South Africa perspective over the coming months. Yeah. In terms of areas we're still looking at, well, it's a long road, and we have a few steps into a very, very long road. But one of the areas that we're really focusing on moving forward is in the transformation and development space. And as I said, some of the money that we've started to bring in from sponsors is going to be invested significantly in the transformation and development space. What we're doing is we're creating what we call development centres, which are Tennis South Africa funded centres and controlled centres. We're starting in 3 provinces. The first rollout will be in the Western Cape later this year. Then it'll be Gauteng, then it'll be Eastern Cape. And those are significant because they're looking at growing tennis not just from a grassroots perspective, but also from a talent ID perspective, identifying talented young black kids and fast-tracking them into a high-performance structure and really trying to give those kids a level playing field to become high-performance athletes.
Richard, thank you very much for coming through. Richard Glover, a man who talks from the hip and also walks the talk. Really appreciate your time and wishing you all the best with the rest of your journey as CEO of Tennis South Africa.
Thank you very much.
There you have it. We couldn't have scripted it better. Richard Glover coming to talk to us about the Davis Cup tie on the same day that Kevin Anderson rolls back the years as South African back into a Grand Slam semi-final. We'll be back shortly.